My name is Misha Kaplan. I took over as the chair for Mark Nesbitt back in December. So it's very nice. Thank you on behalf of the board, on behalf of the West Ottawa Board of Trade. Thank you for coming out this morning on this beautiful Friday morning. It's great to see so many out here. I know obviously the mayor always attracts a lot of attention, so that's fantastic to see. As I say, I'm not going to speak too much, and I want to sort of maximize the mayor's time up here, so I'm going to try to condense some of the next few pieces as much as possible. I want to start by recognizing a few of our community leaders that are here in the room. And if I can ask you to stand when I call your name, or at least give a quick wave so people know who you are. And I'll ask the audience to please hold your applause until I've gone through everybody. So from the political side, we have councillors Alan Hubley, Eli El-Shantiri, Marianne Wilkinson, and MPP Jack McLaren, and of course our keynote speaker, His Worship Mayor Jim Watson. From the West Ottawa Board of Trade, board members here tonight, we have James Baker, our treasurer Jerome Pulsine, Joanne Ironside, Michael Pasternak, our second vice chair, Phil Sweetnam, Lynn Johnston, Matt Peterson, and our vice chair, Wayne French. From the BIA world, we have Roddy Bolivar from the CARP BIA, and our West Ottawa Board of Trade ambassadors make a huge impact. Elaine Drapeau, Emily Hill, Ian Keith, Jared Goldsmith, Rob Campbell, and Ruddy Daniels. And I'd also like to recognize our newest member, Karen Brownrigg, and her firm, IHR Advisory Services. And of course, we have a past chair here as well, Rick Chase. And a special welcome and thank you to our sponsors, Alterna Savings, CPI Interiors, and TPD. So thank you very much for being out here this morning. And I'd also like to give a very special thank you to our ongoing community sponsors, Waste Management and Post Media, which is our newest ongoing community sponsor. Both of these organizations make a huge impact to what we do and allow us to do what we do even better. So thank you very much to those two organizations. And now I'd like to invite Michael Pasternak, our board's second vice chair, who's going to say a few words on behalf of Alterna Savings. So Michael, please come up.
Thank you, Misha, so much. And thank you all for being here. So on behalf of Alterna Savings, I just want to welcome everyone here this morning. Thank you for coming out. Thank you for supporting the Chamber. For the most part, Alterna, we're very proud this year. If I could just ask if you could raise your hand if you like snowmen. Now, if you could raise your hand if you like building a snowman in 35 below weather. So we're proud to support the Chamber. We're proud to support the community. But we're also very proud to support the Crack Up event this year as part of Winchalude. And I just wanted to take a minute and tell everyone to keep your eye out for news to come on this. It's a signature event. I remember last year going to Lansdowne for the first time, feeling the sense of excitement as everybody kind of rushed out to put their snow. Last year it was Inukchuks together because of the condition of the ice, but it was a lot of fun and certainly a great event to help promote awareness for mental health in our region. So it's very simple, very similar to last year. It'll be $10 for donation per snowman. It's a great team building event for your teams, for those of you who like to take your staffs out for a little fun over the long weekend. And Alterna is very proud to support this year that event. So I will thank you again, everyone, for coming, and I'll turn it back over to Misha. Enjoy the morning and enjoy the talk. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael, and thank you to Alterna. So before we get to our keynote speaker, I just wanted to say a few remarks about the West Ottawa Board of Trade and about our strategic direction for 2018. We have just entered a new year fairly recently, so I thought it would make sense to say a few words about this. As probably most of you know, because I think everyone here is a fairly engaged member and a very engaged community leader, our plan centers right now on the idea that we as a community are very much stronger together. Our approach to the work we do is built on a foundation of collaboration and a commitment to advocacy and economic development, issues that we believe are now more important than ever. Our vision is to be the key voice of business in West Ottawa on local, provincial, and federal issues impacting business growth and economic development. Our newest campaign, Impact Ottawa, is a membership growth initiative designed to support this strategic plan. Our goal is of reaching 1,000 members in the next few months. It's an ambitious one, but I believe strongly that it can be achieved. I'd also like to give a special thanks to Rob Campbell and Donna McDonald for co-chairing this initiative and for leading a team of over 30 action-oriented volunteers. Rob and Donna, could you just stand up quickly, please? We can recognize you. And I just was speaking with one of our past chairs, Rick Chase, recently about the Business Excellence Awards, and he put it quite bluntly and said, so far nominations suck. So I want to give a quick shout out about our Business Excellence Awards. This show was one of the most important ones we run. This is your ability to recognize, to have your own business recognized, to have another business you know that needs recognizing. This is a huge, we're trying to make it the best event that we've ever had this year. So please do go on our website, nominate yourself, nominate another business, nominate as many as you want. We have a whole bunch of award categories this year. So there's no excuse not to nominate. So please do go out there and nominate. You don't have to be a member to nominate. You don't have to be a member to be nominated. So please do go ahead and do that. Okay, and now I'd like to take a special moment to recognize our newest media partner, Post Media, and invite them to come on stage to share a quick greeting. Is Tim McKee around? Perfect.
Thank you. Yeah, you know what? I'm probably too tall for the microphone, so I guess all of you know, over the last 5 to 10 years, the media and newspaper business across Canada has changed, and the last couple of months, it's been no different. In light of all those changes, Post Media, using our Ottawa Citizen brand, have decided to become a major sponsor here with the West Ottawa Board of Trade. We've been Ottawa's news source for 175 years. And this Board of Trade is a huge piece of this community, as are we. And in conjunction with that sponsorship, I want to let everybody know that we're going to make ourselves available to help you with your marketing. The digital space has changed immensely. Print has changed. We still have the ability to deliver flyers for you, run your traditional ads in either the Citizen, the Sun, National Post, or any of our other 170 brands across Canada. So thank you very much for having us, and we're really looking forward to our partnership. Thank you.
And thank you again to Tim and to Post Media. Okay, so now the moment that you've all been waiting for. I'd like to welcome to the stage our board's vice chair, Wayne French, who will introduce our keynote speaker.
Good morning and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Jim Watson was re-elected Mayor of the City of Ottawa on October 27th, 2014, with more than 76% of the popular vote. Mayor Watson has dedicated most of his career to the public service in Canada's capital. First elected as a councillor in 1991, he was re-elected in 1994. 3 years later, he was elected as the youngest mayor of the City of Ottawa, 82% of the popular vote. In 2003, he was elected as a member of the provincial parliament for Ottawa West Nepean, and it was immediately appointed to the cabinet as Minister of Consumer and Business Services. In 2005, he was appointed as Ontario's first Minister of Health Promotion, and he successfully implemented the Smoke-Free Ontario Act. Re-elected as an MPP in 2007, he was promoted, maybe you are going to be an MP someday, you know, who knows. He was promoted to Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing. In that portfolio, he signed the largest federal provincial housing agreement in Ontario's history. In addition, he co-authored a historic agreement between the province and Ontario for 444 municipalities that saw over $1.5 billion in social services costs removed from local property taxes. Following his time in provincial politics, Mayor Watson was elected mayor of the City of Ottawa in October 2010. In his first term as mayor, Watson oversaw the beginning of construction of the Confederation Line, light rail, transit line, and the successful completion of Lansdowne Park redevelopment. His years of active involvement and community services has made him the recipient of several awards and accolades, the City of Ottawa being one, the highest civic honor, the Key to the City, and the Queen's Jubilee Medal. Mayor Watson was recognized for his support of tourism industry by being named Ottawa Tourism Leader of the year 2012 and 2013. In 2013, he was also recognized by the Canadian Housing Renewal Association for his work on breaking the cycle of poverty. But more importantly, he's also a Kiwanian. He's a member of the Kiwanis Club of Ottawa. Ladies and gentlemen, my pleasure, your mayor, our mayor, Mayor Jim Watson.
Well, thank you very, very much, Wayne. I think your introduction's longer than my speech, so I very much appreciate that. And good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Bonjour, mesdames et messieurs, and Happy New Year. And thank you for coming out in such good numbers to talk about business, particularly here in the West End. And very pleased to have three of my colleagues, Alan and Eli and Marianne, with me here today. Misha, congratulations on becoming chair, and to Mark, thank you. I don't know if Mark is here, to thank him for his past service. And Su Ling is not with us. I think she's on a beach somewhere, she told me. We're on a panel, and I said, I'd much rather be on a beach than listen to me, so she did the right thing. First of all, let me take a moment to wish everyone a very happy and healthy and prosperous 2018. I hope the holidays provided a little bit of a break. I spent a fair amount of time in the West End. I live in the West End, and I spent a good part of my Christmas holidays at the Queensway Carleton Hospital, which is in the West End, and want to commend the QCH. They removed my appendix and did a great job, and 100% ready to go, but I'm going to have to talk to Tom Schoenberg about that food, because I lost 5 pounds in the hospital. It was not exactly strained prunes, and banana pudding was on the menu for a while there. I'm going to talk to you about a couple of important issues that are facing the city, and one is looking back, that being the budget we just approved at City Hall just a few weeks ago, and look a little bit at 2017 and some of the activities we had to celebrate Canada's sesquicentennial and the impact, the positive impact that had on the tourism and hospitality industry, which is a big industry in our city. So Budget 18 was approved on the 13th. That was the day I had my appendix attack. It was not the councillors debating the budget that caused me such pain, but I very much appreciate the fact that we had an opportunity to have a fulsome debate on what we wanted as a collective community, what we could afford, and what was needed to ensure that we continue to be the special place to live, work, and visit. Budget 2018 was a document that kept our commitment to keep the tax rate at a reasonable level. As some of you may know, I made a commitment in the last election to keep the tax rate at 2%. And I'm pleased for the 8th year in a row that we've been able to maintain that commitment. And not only, it's always easy for a politician to pat themselves on the back, but we have received third-party endorsements literally every couple of months. We get some good news from an organization that looks at the state of our economy, the state of our city, and Money Sense magazine just a few months ago listed Ottawa as the best place to live, work, raise a family for the 2nd year in a row. And just last week, Deutsche Bank listed Ottawa as the best Canadian city to live in, beating a city called Toronto, which was pretty good, and we were ranked 7th in the world according to Deutsche Bank. So the budget showed our city's commitment to ensuring that we had really a look at both sides of the ledger, just as you in the business community can't focus just on spending. You've got to focus on revenue coming in to balance your books. We have to do the same thing, and we have to do it in a very public way because, of course, the public pays virtually all of the costs of running a city. So Budget 2018 focused on 6 key action items. maintaining an affordable city by meeting our property tax commitment. And there are others. There's always a range of opinions. Some people want us to spend more and raise taxes more. Others want us to freeze or cut taxes. But the reality is, with a growing city where people want to come into our city, there are rising costs. So when we're building new subdivisions, whether it's in Barrhaven or Canada or Stittsville, we have to provide services, whether they're fire stations or recreation centers and so on. We also want to increase our investment in infrastructure, renewal, strong focus on roads, cycling, pedestrian connections. Thirdly, helping our partner agencies manage their pressures and their costs to ensure that we keep our city affordable. Investing in the renewal of our city's arts and culture sector with strategic capital and operating investments. Building a green and sustainable future thanks to our record investments in environmentally sustainable transit, for instance, energy evolution investments. And finally, strengthening our commitment to core service with the addition of police and paramedic and frontline responders to ensure that we continue to remain a safe city. I've already spoken about what we're doing with respect to affordability, but I think we can do even more. We've committed to helping those who are less fortunate because we recognize that costs maybe for someone in this room might be able to manage, but other people who are literally living on the poverty line are having a really difficult time. And so we're increasing record amounts of dollars into affordable housing so that everyone has a place to call home. We've worked with the province of Ontario to provide $30 million over 3 years for a Ontario for the Home for Good program, creating 150 new supportive housing units and supporting 310 households to find and maintain affordable housing. We've also put new money, as I mentioned, into frontline services, thanks to the good work of Eli, who represents probably the largest area of the city, West Carleton. We now have 14 new paramedics that are working, 25 new additional police officers. I know Alan and Eli are on the Police Services Board. That's in addition to 50 that we've already hired this term of office for a total of 75. And we recognize, and we saw again today, sadly, another shooting, that crime is something that we can't escape from, and we have to be vigilant and proactive in terms of providing our police services with the necessary resources, but we also have to continue to work with organizations like Crime Prevention Ottawa to ensure that we get to the root causes of crime, because we, of course, cannot have a police constable on every single corner. We're improving school safety by adding additional 10 crossing guards so our kids can go to school on these busy intersection streets safely. We introduced the Equifare, which is a low price for individuals who are at or below the poverty cutoff, which is about $21,000. Those individuals now have access to an Equipass, which is 50% of the adult fare for OC Transpo, saving an individual about $700 a year, which is significant if you're at or below the poverty line. And we also have the Equifare pass, which is a one-time fare. People don't want to buy the full pass. And this is important because we need to get these folks who are living at the poverty line the ability to go out and look for a job, attend a job, go shopping, help bring their kids to school. So these kinds of investments are important. They're the single largest social service investment that we've made in the city's history. And it ties in, of course, if you have an Equifare and an Equipass and you keep our transit rates reasonable, that ties in nicely to the exciting news that will come this year, later this year, when the LRT system opens officially for passengers in the city of Ottawa. This is a large project, as you know. It's $2.1 billion, and its western portal is Tunney's Pasture, goes all the way to LeBreton Flats, goes underground at LeBreton, follows Queen Street, all the way underground for 2.5 kilometers with stations in the downtown core. You may have seen some of the pictures. I tweet every once in a while some of the pictures of the stations being assembled, and they look terrific. The trains come above ground at Ottawa U, follow the transitway all the way to Blair Station. I was out there yesterday, and they're testing the trains, and it looks great. So that is the first phase. We obviously want to go farther west, farther east, and farther south, because the first 12.5 kilometers is the spine of the system. And people, the most frequently asked question, when's it starting? I can tell you it's starting in 2018. The specific date we'll be able to announce within the next 2 months when that start date will be. So there's a lot of enthusiasm and people anxious to see the trains rolling. We recognize we have a congestion problem in the downtown core. Our bus system has reached capacity on Slater and Albert at rush hour. We can only fit 8,000 people in and out of the core every hour. The train system going underground will bring that to 24,000 people capacity with trains running at rush hour every 4 to 5 minutes. So it's going to be a very, very good service, and we're very excited about it. We also recognize not everyone is, well, let me just tell you about the expansion, of course. Farther east, we're going to go to Trim Road and Place d'Orleans. Farther west, we're now going to Moody Drive, where D&D has moved in about 3,500 people. That will be good for businesses in the West End and Bell's Corners. And then we'll also with stops at Bayshore Shopping Centre, which is a big employment node, as well as Algonquin College. So those are services that are going to start construction in 2019 after we open the first phase. And then the southern extension of the O train will have a spur line to the airport, as well as the EY Centre, and then go as far south as Riverside, South Beausville. So we also are in the midst of doing an environmental assessment, and I thank my colleagues Marianne and Eli and Alan and others like Shad, who is not able to be with us today. We want to go farther west. We recognize the growth in Canada and Stittsville, and so we are now in the midst of doing an environmental assessment thanks to federal funds from the federal government and the work of Karen McCrimmon, the MP from here in the West End. And that environmental assessment is telling us what route we should be taking to go farther west into Canada-Stittsville, what the more precise cost will be. We don't have the funding at this point to implement the environmental assessment findings, which we'll find out about later this year. But certainly we want to be ready when the federal and provincial government have new infrastructure funds to ensure that our plans are ready and we're ready to go farther west. But at the same time, we recognize that a lot of people do not use transit and won't use transit, and that's fine. I'm not anti-car like some people are. We want to invest in our roads and our basic infrastructure, and we're going to be investing $60.2 million in infrastructure growth in 2018, as well as $125 million to renew city assets, including buildings, roads, pathways, sidewalks, and bridges. And just to give you some examples here in the West End, we're investing $44 million to resurface and upgrade roadways, including Terry Fox, March, West Hunt Club, Maitland, Longfields, Stone Haven, just to mention a few. $3 million in traffic measures for West End intersections, including those at Stittsville Main Street, Westridge Drive, Terry Fox Drive, Abbott Street, Terry Fox Drive, and Westphalian Avenue, and Fernbank and Robert Grant. We're investing in other important projects, such as installing new pedestrian crossovers, improving the intersections at Campo Drive and Terran, designing left lane turns at Hope Side Road, replacing street lights and hydro poles on Shea Road, and replacing street lights on Pickford Drive. Now, I mention those because it just gives you a sense. We have 6,600 kilometers of road in the city of Ottawa, and I think some of you have seen my old chart I drag out all the time where we've superimposed the cities of Vancouver, Calgary, Edmonton, Toronto, and Montreal. All those cities fit within the boundaries of the city of Ottawa, and we're bigger still by 100 square kilometers. You know, I joke with Eli, he has more cows than people that live in West Carleton. But West Carleton is the same size as the city of Calgary. Calgary has 1 million people. West Carleton's got about 27,000 people. So we have a lot of geography with a small population, but with that geography comes a lot of roads. So when we have a snowstorm and you call me and say why your street isn't plowed, well, every street can't get plowed first. We have to do the emergency routes, and then the bus routes, and then the fire routes, and then all the way down to those dead-end streets. I'll tell a funny story, because when I was first elected, Wayne mentioned I was elected as a city councillor, and I represented the Glebe and Old Ottawa South and that area of the city. And one day, I think the 3rd of December, I got sworn in the 1st, and there's a big, huge snowstorm the 3rd of December. And here I am, a rookie councillor, and not sure what to do. And at 2 in the morning, my phone rings. And I pick it up and I'm groggy. Hello, is this Jim Watson, the city councilor? And I said, yes. He said, I just wanted to wake you up because your plow was beeping and waking my family up, and I want to know when it's going to stop. So I said, well, okay, I'll check into that, took his name and number, and, you know, he had a point. These big graders beep, you know, when they go back, and it causes a great commotion on the street, but it's got to get done. When there's a snow plow, a snow incident, you got to plow 24 hours a day to get to all the streets. So that was 2 in the morning. 4 in the morning, I still can't get back to sleep. I'm tossing and turning, and I look over and I see the guy's name and number on my nightstand. So I pick up the phone. Hello, it's Jim Watson. Has the beeping stopped? Yes, but you just woke me up. Well, just checking. Thank you very much, sir. So I felt really, really good, but I know I lost that guy's vote. So, but the reality is it's not just about hard infrastructure. We recognize a lot of the roads, particularly some of our rural roads, are not in good shape. We had 90 freeze-thaw cycles last year, and that's when the water seeps in a crack, and then it expands, and then it creates a pothole. We filled 260,000 potholes, and I appreciate the support of my colleagues where we're able to find, through assessment growth, an additional $10 million for road infrastructure, and I think you'll see a lot of that work being done this year. But we also have soft infrastructure, those community facilities that are used literally by tens of thousands of people on a weekly basis. We're going to do upgrades at the Nepean Sportsplex, the Walter Baker Sports Center, and the John Mille Lacs Community Center for the benefit of the community. Also, those of you who live in Stittsville will appreciate the good work that my colleague Shad Kadri did to secure funding for the Shea Road Woods. This is an important part of the ecosystem that we're able to save and preserve so future generations can go and walk their dog, their family, have some quality time literally in this beautiful forest in the middle of our community. Another exciting issue that took place last year was the testing of autonomous vehicles, and Marianne has been instrumental working with the high-tech sector. We were the first Canadian city to test on-street autonomous vehicle. I had the honor of being in the front. Marianne was in the back. She's a backseat driver, trust me. And we had, I don't know who was, if any of you were there must have been, Marianne, 3,000 or 4,000 people lining the street to see this amazing feat. And we had, there's a driver, they had to for legal reasons, but he didn't use the pedals, he didn't use his hands, and it worked perfectly. So we're partnering with BlackBerry QNX and its Autonomous Vehicle Innovation Center, and Ottawa now has the facilities and technology to advance driverless car testing on active public streets. And that is going to be really the story of the next decade. And a lot of us think, how can this possibly happen? Well, I suspect 100 years ago plus, they said, how could you possibly fly? And how could you possibly, print a book with the Gutenberg printing press and so on. So we have a really great story to tell in the high-tech sector in the West End, and it's a very vibrant one, and we're looking forward to those 70 companies that are associated with autonomous vehicles located right here in the West End. Let me just conclude with two other quick points. One is 2017. Obviously, it was an exciting year for Ottawa and for the country. And our hospitality industry, tourism hospitality, is about the 3rd biggest employer in Ottawa. And working with the federal, provincial, and the private sector, we were able to put on a series of events that really set records in terms of people visiting our city, staying in hotels, eating at restaurants, using taxis or Uber, or going into shops, using services like printers and so on. We had a record number of conventions and AGMs at the Shaw Centre. And what we found was that while business in the downtown hotels was up, it was up even more in the suburban hotels, because when the hotels downtown get filled with big conventions, leisure travel need places to stay, and they're staying in Bell's Corners, they're staying in Canada, they're staying in Orleans, and that was good news that the wealth and the good economic spin was not just in the downtown, but it was throughout the city. And so when you look at some of the events we had very much a strategy to bid more, win more, and host more events, sporting, cultural, academic. We hosted, obviously, the Davis Cup, the Women's Golf Championship at the Hunt Club, We had the Roar of the Rings, which was taking place at the Canadian Tire Centre, the Juno Awards, which were out here and seen by 6.5 million Canadians from coast to coast. We hosted the Grey Cup, which was a great success. Nothing more Canadian than Shania Twain coming on a dog sled to bring the Grey Cup into TD Place. The NHL Outdoor Classic, I watched that from my hospital room, very bitter that I worked on it for 4 years and I couldn't go to it, but it was a sellout and a great success. And some of the marquee events, like La Machine, where you had this gigantic spider and dragon fighting on the front lawn of the Supreme Court and hanging from the Basilica on Sussex Drive, and then you had the Canada's Table. We hosted a great event in Manotick where we went to Suntech Tomatoes and had 150 people having a gourmet meal in the heat and warmth in February of Suntech greenhouses. We had obviously a Continuum, which was an underground multimedia experience, WOBT shining the light on First Nations at the Chaudière Falls, which most people had not seen before, and Dine in the Sky and Canada's Table, 1,000 people dining on Wellington Street that sold out in 12 seconds when the tickets went on sale. So we recognized there was a lot of enthusiasm for those events, and it did us well in terms of showcasing our ability to host these events and to really shine the spotlight on Ottawa, where we were featured in the New York Times, the Los Angeles Times, the Chicago Sun-Tribune, CBS, and the list goes on. So I'm just going to wrap up because I know you want to get back to work. We have a lot of exciting projects that are still in front of us. Obviously, LRT is the single largest one, and you'll start seeing the trains rolling later this year. Then we start expansion of the LRT. You know, we don't want to put our shovels down, with construction beginning for phase 2 in 2019. And we are very, very excited about helping to transform the city as we've done for the last couple of years with everything from the advent of the Shaw Centre, which has allowed us to bid on more conventions, the refurbishment and revitalization of Lansdowne Park, which has been an overwhelming success, great job creation, and great new venues for people to host events. And I just want to conclude by thanking you, the business men and women, for the work that you do each and every day to create the jobs and, yes, to pay the taxes, to provide those services that we all have come to expect. And it's an honor each and every day as I wake up and go about my day to represent the city of Ottawa, our nation's capital. And I thank you for that privilege, and I very much look forward to working with you in the months and years ahead. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Always like hearing from you. I wanted to give a warm thank you on behalf of the West Ottawa Board of Trade, our board, all of our members, all of our community partners, to all the great work that the mayor and his team does for the business community in Ottawa and West Ottawa. And Mr. Mayor, if I can get you to come back on stage, we have a little gift here for you to show our appreciation for you being here this morning. This was donated by one of our members. Is Jess? There she is, perfect. This was donated by one of our members, Melanie at BFD Inc. Is Melanie here? No? Okay. So this is an Inukshuk, and this is meant to symbolize leadership, determination, and the importance of working together. Okay, so just a few concluding pieces. We have a few more messages from our sponsors. So can I invite Catherine Paulsine from CPI Interiors and Donna Daw from TPD to share a few words with us on behalf of their businesses. Donna is yeah. If you want to just come up together, that's.
Well, thank you all very much for coming and from our Mayor Watson, for such enlightening us all. I'm Catherine Pulsine with CPI Interiors, and we are pleasure to be able to sponsor these events. We are celebrating our 20th anniversary this year on May 1st as in business, and thank you very much. Thank you. So it has been our pleasure to be able to come into thousands of homes in the Ottawa area, and we would look forward to probably maybe coming to see some of you in your homes this coming years. And by all means, thank you again all for coming, and we'll look forward to seeing you again. Thanks.
Good morning. Good morning. My name is Donna Daw. I'm the Division Manager for TPD, Staffing North America. TPD stands for the Personnel Department. We've been in business for 38 years in Vancouver. I'm short, sorry, thank you. We've been in business in Vancouver for about 38 years with the offices established throughout the West Coast, and I'm really, really delighted to announce that we've just established a footprint here in Ottawa, and we do expect to be growing our business here in Ottawa and Eastern Canada as well. Our scope of work, we're not just staffing and recruiting, we also do HR service contracting, and we realize that many small businesses don't have the bandwidth to support a full HR department. We've got that. You hire accountants, you hire lawyers for special projects. Why not hire somebody in HR to do the same thing? What makes us different? Our scope of work, our speed to fill orders, and our agility to deploy a very, very large quantity of people in anywhere across Canada on short notice. We can go into Northern Ontario, Northern Alberta and deploy 300 people for cleanup from fire restoration to 10 people needed here in the Ottawa area for a quick warehouse load. We can do it really quickly. We move really, really, really fast because of our large scope of work across North America. We do know that a big risk to employers is finding talent. We know that that's your success, is finding talent, keeping talent, and engaging talent. We can help with that. We recognize that, and we also offer a 100% guarantee on all of our temp placements and 6-month guarantee on all of our perm placements. To everybody here, I also want to offer a free brand assessment. Our marketing team will go into small companies in particular and do a full brand assessment, and I would love to offer anybody here in this room a free one courtesy of TPD. If you're interested, please come see either myself or José Raymond, our account manager, and we would love to chat. So thank you again. I won't call you in the morning about my potholes, but I will tweet you. How's that? Okay? All right, thank you.
So thank you again to TPD and CPI. I should mention as well with CPI, one of the co-owners, Jerome Pulsine, is our treasurer, and Jerome works incredibly hard, all voluntary to keep sort of our books in order for the West Ottawa Board of Trade. So thank you very much to both those organizations. Let's see, and of course, I want to thank Cedar Hill Golf and Country Club for being great hosts this morning. And to thank our West Ottawa Board of Trade staff team, Jess and Michelle who are here, and of course Su Ling who wasn't able to be here this morning, but thank you to all of our staff. And I'll just remind you before, I'm going to bring up Michael Pasternak back on stage for a minute just to say our closing remarks, but I wanted to just remind you of a few events that we have coming up. January 24th, we have a Take Aim workshop with Rob Campbell from Acumentum Consulting. February 6th, we have another workshop, Managing Your Reputation Through the Spoken Word with Steve Lowell from S&J Training. February 7th is our next Business After 5 at Altitude Gym. February 16th, Business Over Breakfast with, we have a great keynote speaker, George Weber, who's the CEO of the Royal Ottawa, and he's going to be speaking about mental wellness in the workplace, so a very important subject to all of us. And of course, we have early bird tickets available for our West Ottawa Board of Trade Business Excellence Awards. And again, please remember to nominate as many businesses as you possibly can. Is Jess still around? Did you want to come up and just do door prizes? We have 3 door prizes this morning. You want some help?
Okay, so Kelly Amy donated 4 passes to the Diefenbunker. Thank you. And that's going to Jerry Jordan. Thank you.
Which one is that?
Right here. this one. And then we've got a nice 2 bottles of wine from Bridlewood Trails. Going to Kyle Dowd. Roy. And Joe. A lovely water bottle from Brian McCallow from Bright Star Communications. Jack McLaren. And a lovely prize from Michelle White from Investors Group, going to Erica Danks from CIBC.
Thank you, Jess, and thank you to all of our sponsors who donated gift baskets. So now for our closing remarks, I'm going to invite back up at the stage our board's second vice chair, Michael Pasternak from Alterna Savings, and I will say goodbye to you this morning, and thank you very much for coming, and I'm going to pass things over to Michael right now. Thanks, Michael.
Thank you all once again. And I just want to close not so much with a tell, but an ask. There's never been a greater time to get involved with the Board of Trade, with all the challenges that face us, be they economic, fiscal, recruitment and retention of employees. The Board of Trade is your loudest and most relevant voice to help face those challenges. And there's never been a greater time to get involved. So I would ask each of you as you leave today to just go back, renew your own commitment to getting involved, renew your engagement with the Board of Trade, your membership. The investment that you make in us is an investment in you as well. So help us grow, help us make an impact, and follow us and promote us in your networks. Follow us certainly on Twitter and LinkedIn, and we're very active. And thanks to Misha for his leadership, and to my fellow board members for their engagement as well in that effort. But thank you all very much for coming. I'll turn it back over to you, Misha.
Thank you, Michael. So that concludes our events for this morning. I wanted to say thank you again to our mayor for coming out and speaking to us. It was always wonderful to hear from you. If anyone wants to talk offline at all, please come and introduce yourself. I think I've met most of you by now, but if I haven't, please come and introduce yourself to me before you leave today. So thank you again for coming out, and I'll see all of you again hopefully at our next event.